Atenció! Senyores i senyors, l'acte començarà tot seguit. Els demanem que es posin drets per rebre la comitiva de doctors. Moltes gràcies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the entrance of the UVic-UCC doctors.
Podeu seure. Good morning, everybody. The session will begin with some announcements in Catalan. It will continue mainly in English. For your convenience, the main speeches are printed in English and in Catalan in the booklet. Excel·lentíssima senyora alcaldessa de Vic i presidenta de la Fundació Universitària Balmes, senyor director dels serveis territorials a la Catalunya Central del Departament d'Ensenyament, senyor director de la Fundació Universitària Balmes, primer rector de la Universitat de Vic, representants de les universitats de Saragossa, de Politècnica de Catalunya, Oberta de Catalunya, Rovira i Virgili, ESADE, Universitat de Ramon Llull, ESERP. Representants del consistori municipal, representants de la International Moodle Association, representants de les institucions comarcals i supracomarcals, companys dels òrgans de direcció de la UVic-UCC, claustre de doctors, professorat, professionals d'administració i serveis, senyores i senyors. Com a rector de la Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, em fa una il·lusió especial constituir aquest claustre extraordinari, avui dijous 31 de març del 2016, per tal d'investir el senyor Martin Dougiamas com a doctor honoris causa de la nostra universitat. L'acte que anem a començar tindrà alguns parlaments en anglès. Com he dit abans, cal que sàpiga que el llibret que els hem donat hi ha totes les intervencions traduïdes també al català. Demano a la doctora Àngels Cruselles, secretària general, que llegeixi l'acord del Consell de Direcció i del Patronat de la Fundació Universitària Balmes per la que se li concedeix el títol de doctor honoris causa.
El Consell de Govern de la Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, a proposta del Comitè de Direcció de l'Escola de Doctorat i del Vicerrectorat d'Afers Acadèmics en el marc del projecte Diversity, va acordar el dia 12 de gener de 2016 d'elevar al Patronat de la Fundació Universitària Balmes la proposta de concessió del títol de doctor honoris causa per la UVic-UCC al senyor Martin Dougiamas per la seva contribució al programari lliure a través del lideratge de la plataforma Moodle, que ha representat una forta innovació mundial i ha permès al món educatiu fer un gran salt en extensió i millorar en l'ús d'eines digitals. Posteriorment, el Patronat de la Fundació Universitària Balmes, a proposta del Consell de Govern de la Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, en sessió ordinària celebrada el dia 21 de gener de 2016, va aprovar la concessió del doctorat honoris causa al senyor Martin Dougiamas.
Demano al doctor Pere Quer, vicerrector d'Ordenació Acadèmica i padrí del doctorant, que faci entrar el senyor Martin Dougiamas a la sala. Els prego que es posin drets per rebre el doctorat. I now give the floor to Dr. Pere Quer, the sponsor of the doctoral candidate.
Excel·lentíssima senyora alcaldessa de Vic, magnífic rector, senyor director dels serveis territorials de la Catalunya Central, benvolguts tots els assistents a aquest acte. Mr. Dougiamas, hello. I'm highly honored to be here with you today. And now I'll explain to the audience the reasons why our university is giving now this title in Catalan. La Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, em concedeix l'honor de ser avui aquí davant de tots vostès com a padrí del senyor Martin Dougiamas en aquest acte d'investir-lo precisament doctor honoris causa per aquesta universitat, la meva universitat. Em correspon, doncs, breument explicar les raons per les quals se li atorga aquest doctorat. I, si em permeten, aniré fins i tot una mica més enllà. La transformació digital ha produït canvis impressionants en tots els camps de la nostra vida personal i professional, millorant-la gràcies a un major accés a la informació i a una major capacitat de comunicació. En aquest ràpid procés de canvi que vivim, hi ha hagut diverses eines que han permès a la humanitat fer el salt al qual em referia. Una d'aquestes eines ha estat clarament la plataforma Moodle, que ha causat un fort impacte en el món de l'educació, en el camp de l'educació. Naturalment no és pas l'única eina que hi ha en aquest camp, però sí que és amb tota seguretat la que d'una manera més universal i més global ha possibilitat de fer un gran salt a tothom. Des de persones que de manera individual tenien dificultats per accedir a l'educació i a través de la plataforma ho han pogut fer o ho han pogut fer més fàcilment, fins a institucions com la nostra, grans institucions o fins i tot sistemes sencers educatius que han trobat en la plataforma Moodle una manera de millorar la seva activitat formativa. Destaco expressament aquest darrer aspecte perquè em semblaria injust reduir la incidència de Moodle a la mera facilitació de l'ensenyament a distància. Molt més enllà d'això, prefereixo aturar-me una mica en la idea de la millora. La millora que Moodle ha aportat no és només tecnològica, és també millora en molts altres sentits. En primer lloc, perquè ha permès diversificar les formes d'abordatge de l'ensenyament i de l'aprenentatge. En segon lloc, perquè ens ha fornit una eina adaptable a aquest moment actual en què els estudiants tenen un accés a la informació exponencialment superior al que hem tingut mai abans. I en tercer lloc, perquè és una eina versàtil, aplicable més enllà dels usos estrictament formatius. I finalment, perquè la plataforma Moodle ha contribuït a la socialització d'un bé com és el bé de la formació, facilitant que hi accedissin persones amb condicions i necessitats molt diverses, fent que qualsevol persona o entitat pugui oferir formació als altres de manera lliure, oberta i amb suport d'una comunitat mundial, i demostrant que un projecte col·laboratiu i comunitari de codi obert, orientat a oferir un servei, si està ben liderat, pot esdevenir un projecte sostenible, equilibrat econòmicament i que superi les capacitats, les potencialitats i la solidesa de projectes comercials orientats al rendiment econòmic. No tothom veu d'entrada aquestes millores que he descrit. Encara de vegades sento a dir que les eines no poden millorar la formació. I d'aquí se n'extreu sovint la conclusió que, aplicant-hi recursos digitals, no es pot millorar el resultat de la formació respecte del que s'obté sense aplicar-los-hi. Aquesta és una conclusió que m'agradaria rebatre. I a més, voldria deixar clar que el posicionament de la UVic-UCC és totalment contrari a aquest argument. Per això donem avui el doctorat honoris causa al senyor Dougiamas. En realitat, aquestes afirmacions parteixen d'un argument verídic i inapel·lable. L'eina no fa la formació. Però és fals que amb l'aplicació de l'eina no es pugui millorar la formació. Naturalment que és un error pensar que una eina per si sola pot millorar la formació que oferim, perquè sabem des de sempre que el que fa millorar la formació és l'ús intel·ligent que les persones fem de les nostres capacitats i de les possibilitats que ens ofereixen aquesta eina o aquella altra. És l'adequada combinació de metodologies basades en tecnologia amb d'altres que no s'hi basen en tecnologia. És l'adequació i l'ajustament a la situació concreta dels estudiants i a nous contextos socials emergents i que siguem capaços de fer un plantejament contextualitzat, com en diem a la UVic-UCC, multimodal. I finalment, i sobretot, el que fa que millori la formació que oferim és l'energia, la concentració i l'interès que hi posen les persones responsables de guiar l'aprenentatge dels estudiants i els mateixos estudiants si se'n fomenta adequadament la participació. Deixeu-me encara acabar de reblar aquest clau dient que si no introduïm els recursos digitals a la docència, prenem una actitud que, a parer de la universitat, és absolutament reprovable, perquè estaríem deixant conscientment i volgudament fora del seu temps. Estaríem traient del curs natural de les coses un aspecte de la vida tan important i tan fonamental i un aspecte de la societat tan bàsic com és la formació. Pensar que l'educació pot mantenir-se impermeable al canvi que la transformació digital ha operat ja a totes les parcel·les de la nostra vida quotidiana és, disculpeu-me, somiar truites. I no fer res perquè l'educació integri la tecnologia seria no només un error per omissió, sinó també un atac a la supervivència de qualsevol institució educativa, també de qualsevol universitat. No hem de caure en una fascinació injustificada, ni hem de fer servir les tecnologies de la informació i la comunicació per amagar les buidors de certs discursos formatius. No estic proposant això, per descomptat. Estic absolutament d'acord que cal integrar les tecnologies amb sentit i posant-les al servei de la construcció de coneixement. I cal aprofitar el fet que la plataforma Moodle, en concret, ens ofereix una tecnologia que posa al centre l'estudiant. I fent això ens dona, encara que sembli mentida, l'oportunitat de fer els primers passos d'una revolució discreta però certa. He començat la intervenció dient que m'alegrava molt i que m'honorava poder oficiar de padrí del senyor Dougiamas. M'hi refermo, perquè la figura del padrí va sempre acompanyada d'un compromís. Jo estic molt content de poder defensar dins de la nostra institució un compromís amb allò que el senyor Dougiamas ha portat al món de la formació. Eines noves per a la comunitat educativa i protagonisme per als estudiants. Per tot el que he explicat, doncs, la Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, proposa el senyor Martin Dougiamas com a doctor honoris causa d'aquesta universitat, amb reconeixement per haver creat la plataforma Moodle, amb agraïment per haver-la posat al servei de la societat i amb l'amistat deguda per haver volgut acceptar aquests nostres honors avui aquí, a Vic. Thanks, Martin. Moltes gràcies.
Moltes gràcies, doctor Kerr. Now I give the floor to Richard Sampson and Marcos Cánovas, teachers at the Faculty of Education, Translation and Humanities of the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia, to give the oration for the doctoral candidate.
Good morning, Mayor, President of the Foundation, Rector, other authorities of the university, representative of the Department of Education, other visiting authorities, and doctors of the university, and colleagues and friends, and ladies and gentlemen, and the Vice Rector, and Martin. Marcos and I are going to share this speech. We were the first people to use Moodle in the university. It's been a great adventure, and we hope to communicate this adventure to you in the next few minutes. In the books, there's more text than in the speech, because we wrote too much. We're going to start... this sounds like church. I'm going to start at the bottom of page 56 in English. I en la versió en català és a la part final de la pàgina 15. I després seguiu com pugueu. In our speech today, we want to tell you a little about the exceptional talents and achievements of Martin Dougiamas, and also of his great human qualities. Now we're going to start the text. Moodle has grown since 2001 as an open source platform for educators to develop and manage courses online. And now Moodle is everywhere. We've prepared some slides. I hope this works correctly. This is a picture in your book. This is in the Northwest Territories in Canada. This is on the Moodle website. It's a Moodle site used in a region where there's no other possibility for organizing education. And then the next slide. Here we have most of you, I think, know this, some of the extraordinary figures related to Moodle. The number of platforms, registered platforms, because really there are many more that people have in secret. These are the registered platforms. with the United States in first place and Spain in second place, and Catalonia inside Spain, the most popular region of Spain for Moodle as well. And the number of users here, we can see 80 million around the world, but there are many more, as I say. These are the minimum number of users. On the next slide. Well, that's okay, yeah. We're going to tell you a little bit about the Moodle story now. Moodle started in 2001, 2002, but it was being prepared before that. And this is a slide from Martin on his website. He will correct me if I'm wrong. In the year 1999, saying Moodle is coming soon. So he had already had people who were waiting for Moodle. And you can see the name Moodle, Modular Object-Oriented Dynamic Learning Environment. This makes sense to computer people. Okay? And then we have another slide here. This is, can you move it up a little bit? This is the first Moodle course, perhaps, but this was not Moodle, official Moodle. This was when it was an in-house experiment. And you can see on the left here the teachers' names, Peter and Martin. Martin was one of the teachers. This is the news forum, what we call the Tauler de Professorat here. So this was already here. This is 18 years ago. And we can also see here that Moodle already had some of the collaborative features that marked it out from previous internet-based platforms, with spaces for students to contribute and communicate online in journals. We would probably call these now personal blogs in today's language, but they were called journals at the beginning of Moodle. There is a journal activity here, the penultimate one. Surveys and choices, interaction, and in particular, forums. The last activity, discussions and introductions, is a forum, so students are interacting with the platform. This is already in 2001. And then if we look at the next slide, this is how we're using Moodle today in the University of Vic. And you can see we've got the forums here. So it's more elegant, it's more modern. We have images and we have links and pictures. But you can see that these are the same family. We'll now go on and look at Martin Dougiamas himself, his background and his talents. He will have to excuse us for talking about him in his presence, but protocol demands it.
There is no way of dealing with such a multifaceted subject unless it is by parts, and that is what we propose to do. We'll start with the consideration of Martin Dougiamas as the pedagogue. He has postgraduate degrees in computer science and education. He was webmaster of a large university and manager of a web city online education system for several years in the 1990s. He went on to do research and write papers for his doctoral studies, focusing on student-centered online learning. In his own words, he has, if Moodle ever lets me finish it, a PhD entitled The Use of Open Source Software to Support a Social Constructionist Epistemology of Teaching and Learning within Internet-based communities of reflective inquiry. Martin Dougiamas has published influential articles on constructionism and social constructivist pedagogy online, in particular, his 1998 paper, A Journey Through Constructivism. There, he stated that the students learn from each other as well as the teacher. The students learn better by doing. Allowing and creating opportunities for all to have a voice promotes the construction of new ideas. A constructivist perspective views learners as actively engaged in making meaning, and teaching with that approach looks for what students can analyze, investigate, collaborate, share, build, and generate based on what they already know. These views, once considered experimental, are now mainstream in academic discourse about educational opportunities online. Through this technical ability, Martin Dougiamas was able to develop solutions to the problems he had identified. He was able to imagine and create online training activities and resources that facilitate participative and personal educational practice. It is salutary to bear in mind that Moodle has this solid background in educational theory. Martin Dougiamas is by no means a technical fetishist. He has gone on record rejecting terms such as digital, virtual, and cyber. For Martin Dougiamas, the educational values behind Moodle are those of shared, reflective, inquiry, and construction. And now we'll talk about Martin Dougiamas as a programmer. He has been able to give substance to his educational ideas in a modular framework that has built-in features of sustainability and distributed development. Moodle has been reprogrammed more than once along the way, which in part accounts for its extraordinary longevity. It includes hundreds of flexible tools, and in consequence, it has been widely harnessed for a range of unintended purposes, such as project management and general administration, as well as for its main purpose as a learning platform. Early in the Moodle story, in 2004, Dougiamas was hailed, I quote, as one of the rare instances in open source software development where the right person with the right personality appears at the right time. Martin Dougiamas is the Linus Torvalds of the learning management system world, and his software is the Linux of this software, end of quote. Martin Dougiamas is, like Page and Brin at Google, a case in which a doctoral studies project has taken off, leaving behind the original research framework. We are all the beneficiaries of that. From the point of view of leadership, Martin Dougiamas has defended his project and brought together, inspired and guided, a diverse and growing team of organizational partners, programmers, designers, teachers, and users around the world. This work has required considerable resilience on his part. For instance, as a free software activist, he called on the US Patent Office to revoke a patent claim internet-based education support system and methods submitted by the dominant edtech corporate enterprise, Blackboard. While defending Moodle and taking on an advocacy role at times, Martin Dougiamas has also shown an almost clairvoyant ability to meet and go beyond the expectations of the educational community with each new version of Moodle. Now let's turn to the community orientation of the project. Martin Dougiamas has situated Moodle in the heart of the open source movement, and the Moodle project has become one of the most outstanding open source success stories. Moodle is used by countless small organizations and individuals in rural areas and poorer parts of the world, users who have no alternative, but through Moodle are able to have access to excellent educational opportunities along with the rest of us. As an example of this community orientation, consider Moodle Mobile 2.8, launched in January this year with offline capabilities. It was funded by the Danish NGO Dan Church Aid to allow teaching in Syria of, I quote, children, youth, and the community at large about the dangers of mines and unexploded ammunition in conditions where network connectivity is not always available, end of quote. Another sign of this community orientation, and an aspect that we cherish here in Catalonia, is the extraordinary foresight and energy that Martin Dougiamas put into making Moodle translatable right from the start. And Richard will now make some closing comments.
I'm going to talk finally about Martin as a person, his personal qualities. Martin Dougiamas is an open and self-critical person who actively seeks to encourage the widest possible participation in his initiatives. His enthusiasm and support is infectious. And despite the myriad calls on his time and energy, he remains an approachable team player with a great sense of humor. It's hard not to like Martin. I don't know anybody who doesn't like him. Here, we certainly hope not to embarrass Martin, but we want to give you a feeling of his character, of his wit, and his charm. And there are many stories we could tell, but we'll just focus on two because we don't have a lot of time. First of all, let's look about the name. Martin was always asked about the name. How did he think of the name? And he published in the community forums some time ago. He said, well, when coming up with a name for my system, I remember sitting down one evening and trying to come up with a word that had a combination of properties. It had to be an acronym because Martin likes hidden meanings. It had to be a word that you can say easily. It had to be a word that was not common on the internet so that people could find it by searching. And it had to have a free domain name so he could register Moodle.com or Moodle.org. And originally, he says that the system has never had another name, but originally it was not, the M was not modular, it was Martin's. Those of us who work with Moodle have all experienced in person or heard about Martin's generosity, whether it's helping a single student with a programming problem or discussing the future of Moodle with a hall full of teachers and administrators. And we also know about Martin's humility. He always makes an effort to point out that while he started Moodle, for years now it has been a team effort, and its continuing success is the merit of the group, not just his alone. Integrity, openness, innovation, respect, these are words that we hear a lot, but sometimes not with so much meaning. But in the open source community and in the Moodle community, Martin has given substance to these values. Martin has managed to engender a warm and generous community in his own image. And this is a truly remarkable achievement. This positivity is most keenly felt whenever Moodle people, Moodlers, get together to share experiences and to plan for the future. And this has been the tonic right from the start. As a result of this generosity, the main experience of using Moodle is one of warmth and friendliness around a shared project which we are freely creating together and for each other. We're just going to show you some slides and then I'm going to finish very soon. If Martin is the father of Moodle, at the same time he's been the father of a family, and there have been many versions of Moodle over these years. And each new version of Moodle has been announced with slides of his two children. You have a picture of one of them in the booklet, Tom and Tui. So here is, you can see the date, 2003 Moodle 1.1. This is Tui making 1.1 with her fingers. And so 1.2 in 2004. And Martin is telling you what are the main new things in the platform. 1.3, continue, 1.4, 1.5, joined by her brother Tom, 1.6, this is 2006, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, which is the picture in the booklet. 1.9 was a very popular version because they had a major reprogramming effort afterwards, and it was the Moodle version for 2 years, more than 2 years. In fact, it was the first version we used in the university here in 2009, I think. And then Moodle 2, Moodle 2.1, this is in 2011, already beginning to think about mobile applications, you can see. 2.2, This is not 4 children, this is 2 children in a window, I think. 2.3, a homage to Minecraft. This is in the year 2012. This was the first version of Moodle that we used in the university here, or university-wide in Vic. It's when I went to my first Moodle moot in Barcelona and met Martin in 2013.
And the children built that.
Excellent. Continue. 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. This is the only one that seems to be clearly photoshopped. Martin will tell us afterwards, maybe.
It's a Moodle moot in Edinburgh.
Yeah. Okay. 2.8, which is the version we're using now in the university. This is our current version now. 2.9 and Moodle 3. And Moodle 3.1, which if you've read the newspapers this morning, you've probably heard something about it, is the version that's coming out in May. So in May 2016. Thank you. To close then, I want to say just a couple of words about Martin as a visionary. Martin Dougiamas has shown an acute awareness of current and future opportunities in the rapidly advancing field of educational technology. And as a result, Moodle has ridden the wave of technological change and remains ahead of the field as we move into a future that is marked increasingly by electronic, mobile, and ubiquitous learning. The result of the very broad and powerful reach of Moodle has been to improve the lives of people of all ages and conditions over many years, all over the world. Within a social, non-commercial paradigm, Martin Dougiamas has empowered all of us in many walks of life and looks set to continue to do so in the future. Let it be so. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard and Marcos, for your magnificent speech. And I would like to ask Martin Dougiamas to approach the table. By the authority invested in me, I confer you the title of Honorary Doctor of the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia. I award you this diploma and the Honorary Doctor Medal. Ara bé, allò difficult. Okay, no, it's fine. We are delighted to welcome you to the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia, as a fellow lecturer. And I embrace you in friendship of the great occasion. Thank you. Thank you. And now I call of the new honorary doctor, Dr. Martin Dougiamas, to say a few words. Yo.
Bon dia. Hello. I want you all to just imagine that someone has said all of that about you and how you would feel. I'm vibrating. I can feel a vibration right now. It's a very strange feeling. I've not felt that before. So I want to say a big thank you to the Rector, to the Secretary General, the Vice Rector, the university in general, all of you, for this amazing award, experience, and it's a huge thing. Finally, someone understood why I put the hat on the Moodle logo in the first place. I was asking for somebody to finish my PhD for me. I was working on it I got to about 80% through it, but Moodle just got too busy and too big, and I didn't finish. I thought, well, I've got what I wanted out of it, and now it's just time to focus on Moodle itself. So it does feel like it's kind of closed a bit of a gap that I've had for this whole time. So I really appreciate that from that point. It's especially interesting that it's happening here in Catalonia, in the other side of the world. I've always thought very globally. If you look at the Moodle website, you see nothing much about Australia. I don't think of myself as being very Australian. Actually, my father is Greek, my mother is German, and so I've never really been Greek or German or Australian. I'm just part of the world. And so I love the fact that this is happening here, so far away from where I come from. I grew up in central Australia, in the deserts. Actually, there were no other European children in the town where I was most of the time. We're an Aboriginal community. And since then, I've really been involved in education technology. Until I was 12, I did most of my school on shortwave radio. So we had radios, so the radio signals are actually bounced off the clouds, off the atmosphere, and then down again. And my school was actually 1,000 kilometers away from where I was. So we would communicate in the morning on the radio every day with my class. My classroom was spread over 1,000 kilometers. And the rest of the day I was doing assignments and worksheets. And these were delivered and to the school every 2 weeks by a small plane. A little six-seater plane would be dropping off mail backwards and forwards. So I guess even from that point, I was always trying to widen the bandwidth. When you're communicating on a very small channel, how do you make as much experience as possible when it can't be face-to-face? I also read a lot of science fiction. There was a lady who used to come sometimes with a big truck. She was the wife of the trucker, and she took pity on this little boy stuck in the desert, and she brought me science fiction books. And so I was reading a lot about the space and the future and technology, but not only that, society and how it could be. About science fiction, a lot of it is about the possibilities of the ideals. It's, if any of you have read much science fiction, you know this. It's not always just about science. Back in the city at high school, I gravitated towards the computing subjects. And I spent a lot of time with some friends with very early computers that were around. We were using punch cards to do programming. You may remember these cardboard, you scratch them with a pencil and you feed them into a machine. So again, very difficult way to write programs, but you had to do a lot mentally, And my friend and I had a sort of competition where we would compete at programming this way. So it was like a rivalry, who could write a long program in one go with no mistakes. So you have to do it all in your head and then punch it onto the cards, and then it should run first time, right? That was our game. So, at school we were fortunate to have a teacher who provided this equipment, who helped us have that environment and start playing with these new technologies. At university in the 80s, I started with engineering studies. It's funny though, before I went to university, I spoke to a career counsellor, and she said, I think you need to be an architect. Right? And I thought, yeah, okay, if you say so, an architect, I guess. But then I realised I wasn't really interested in building buildings, right? I love architecture, but I didn't really want to be designing buildings. So I thought, it's probably engineering. I'm more of an engineering. So I went into engineering. I started with a sort of civil engineering, and then moved to the mechanical, and then to the electrical, and then the electronic. And then I realised I was only there for the computers. So I switched to computer science. And that's where I really started to find the future and dive into the early internet then, back in the 80s, where I spent time in things called MOOs, on mainframe computers, and sort of deep in the guts of these computers on the internet, there were experiences going on. There were terrific worlds where people were communicating and building things together. And this is long before the web, right? So it's all text. It's all in your imagination. And there were also, at that time, there was not very many people who understood all this stuff. It was kind of a niche thing, and not many people could really understand what I was talking about. About that time, though, the Mac got launched, and there's more graphical interfaces and mouse pointers. And then, not long after that, the web started to emerge. There's the idea of actual pages of information. It became interesting to me that the web was suddenly dumbing down the internet. So everyone was going, oh, the web, it's the new thing. It looks amazing. I can get information from around the world. I can access all these things. And people were starting to think, I can publish. I can write something here and put it there, and the whole world can access this document. That was amazing to most people. For me, it was like, oh, that's so boring, right? It's all the interactivity and all the excitement had gone. And later, when I was working at the university, I was working in a support role with the whole campus. I was sitting from day to day with lecturers, with the rector, at all levels, all through the university, helping them try to use the internet. And I realized in there that there was tools that didn't exist yet. We needed things to make this stuff easy, to make interactions more possible. And that's what got me launched on Moodle. And a lot of all my old experiences and learning all sort of came together to help me start that. It's always been, Moodle's always been right in the middle between engineering, computing, and education, in that niche. And I've always tried to knit the two together. The education drives the engineering, and the engineering drives education. The processes of open source software itself was very critical because they are fundamental to how all of this works. And for me, a very close analogue of the academic community. In the academic community, it's a history, a long history, thousands of years of sharing. You publish to each other, you build on each other's work, you review each other's work. It's a way to think together and to progress humanity. And open source is really a direct analogue of that, just in the software space. A lot of my work has not just been the programming itself, therefore, but how does motivation work in that environment? How are people motivated to take part in a group activity? as humans on this planet, I feel we are all like in one big boat, and we've all got an oar to row it with. And it works better when we're rowing in one direction. I feel it's kind of the duty of everybody to like just grab an oar and start pulling it, right? Put some work in, and let's see where we can go. The planet is not very big, our planet, and we do need to work together. We have a long way to go. There's a few things I just want to end with, just some things that I've learned, maybe a few ideas that, for me, I think it's very important for everyone to work out what you care about, what your experiences together add up to, what is your own meaning of life. For me, education, contributing towards education, I settled on education because it seemed to be what was underneath everything. You can't have an ongoing movement in any field without education, because you have to pass it on from one generation to the next. The second thing is, if you are in doubt, you should always be open. You tell people what you're doing, you share things as much as you can, because people are all essentially good and they all want to help. And if you're open, you give them those opportunities and you allow collaboration. Openness feeds the fire, and it's what makes us human. Once you start something, as my third point, keep going. And I know people do say this a lot, but it really is true. I could have stopped Moodle many times. Many things happened in my professional life, in my personal life, that could have stopped Moodle at any time. I was fighting a lot of things, and I could have stopped and taken easier routes. You can imagine with two very young children working 18 hours a day on software, and my young wife saying, "You're going to give this away?" It was hard to explain why I felt I had to do it, but I had to keep going. I had to prove it and show that I was onto something, because I felt very sure that I was onto something. And I think we all have challenges, and you've just got to keep going. It's really about continuation to make things happen. And we still have a long way to go. I've only about 10% of the things that we've thought about have actually happened. So there's a lot to do. Finally, I would just want to say, although I'm receiving this honoris causa today for starting and leading Moodle, Moodle really is a team effort. There's a lot of people involved, and some of you are here. There is a huge community taking part at all levels, and there really has been since the beginning. If you don't mind too much, I know this is mine, and I will keep this, but if you don't mind, if we, at Moodle conferences, if all the Moodlers there, if I allow them to call each other doctor, that would be nice. So I would like to at least accept it, on the part of the community as well. So thank you very, very, very much. And just one more thing. I will try not to be a stranger. I'll try and come and visit whenever I can.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dougiamas, for sharing your thoughts and sharing your feelings. Now I give the floor to Javier Leiva, Executive Director of Diversity, who will speak about the Thanks Martin campaign.
Martin Dougiamas, Mayor, Rector, Vice Rector, representatives of other institutions, Directors Generals, assembled doctors, ladies and gentlemen. As has already been said, Martin's great virtue is not only creating Moodle, but also managing to gather a large community around this great learning platform. That's why we felt it was worth sharing our initiative with the whole community. This is the idea behind Thanks Martin, a place where everyone is welcome to send a video message to Martin, thanking him for creating Moodle and leading its development over the past 13 years. The website also has a page where organizations can show their support. Here are some of the ideas mentioned in the videos. First, talking about Moodle. Some people highlight that Moodle is free to use, open, and collaborative. It's a perfect ally to improve education, to build bridges between the world of today and tomorrow. Moodle has transformed many lives and helped to educate millions of people. It has helped in critical situations and to save lives. Indeed, Moodle has taken us to the next level by improving the way teachers and students can communicate, share resources, and work together. And then, as for Martin himself, people say three things most of all: that he has an exceptional mind, that he always makes himself available, and that his generosity is beyond limits. Now we'll project a short video collage made from selected fragments of the Thanks Martin messages published so far.
Hi Martin!
You've transformed many, many lives, helped educate a huge number of people, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for making Moodle possible and for creating this amazing platform that allows us students and teachers to work in such an effective way. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to keep studying, because my family didn't have the money to pay for our rent, and to pay for a flat, electricity, and so on.
The Moodle has improved our teaching, our ability to share results and images and contents in lab and theory sessions. This has taken the teaching to a whole new level. So we're very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thanks for inventing such a thing as Moodle. So interesting.
It's a very good program!
And I wanted to thank you for not as much the technical abilities that you of course have, but for the kindness that you have when you meet all the crowd that wants to meet you. And it's of course overwhelming days and overwhelming trips, but you're always in good humor and on for going out and doing a lot that I think it has to be pretty exhausting, I guess, but it's also a big boost for meeting all these people and so on.
Say thanks, Martin, for Moodle and for everything. Moodle has been an integral part of my life. Thanks so much.
Okay, Javier, this is just a demo, okay?
Gracias.
Voila.
Merci.
Shukram.
Grazie.
Dankeschön.
Tak.
Obrigado.
Kiitos.
Dankjewel.
Kosonum.
Thank you, Martin.
Gracias, Martin.
Okay. Well, the Thanks Martin website will remain open for the time being, so if you haven't left a message for him yet, you still have time. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. The painter Jordi Pagès will now present you with this original work used to commemorate this ceremony. Please, Jordi Pagès, could help me with this? Moltes gràcies, Jordi. No cal on Antoni Massegú, that is the Director of Territorial Services of the Education Department of the Government of Catalonia. Quan vulguis, Antoni.
Benvolguts, benvolgudes, autoritats, mestres, professores, professors, doctores, doctors, membres de la comunitat educativa, amics, il·lustre senyor Dougiamas. És un plaer i un honor ser aquí avui i poder participar amb tots vosaltres en aquest acte de lliurament de l'honoris causa a Martin Dougiamas, pare i ànima del Moodle que tant coneixem, utilitzem i necessitem tant a Catalunya com a tota la comunitat educativa internacional. Des del Departament d'Ensenyament compartim i aplaudim, per tant, com no podria ser d'altra manera, l'encertada decisió de la Universitat de Vic, Universitat Central de Catalunya, d'atorgar-li aquest honoris causa. A tots vostès, per tant, la felicitació i l'agraïment en nom del Departament d'Ensenyament. I attend this ceremony as representative of government of our country, Catalunya, and her Minister of Education, molt honorable Meritxell Ruiz-Isern. But today, for me, this is not just another event. In my capacity as math teacher at a new secondary school, Institut Calgravat of Manresa, that I have had the satisfaction of directing, Moodle have been the traveling companion who has been with us in the early years' existence. These initial years are always the hardest, so thanks, Martin, for your helpful tool. Assisteixo doncs a aquest acte solemne com a representant del govern del meu país i en representació de la nostra consellera d'Ensenyament, molt honorable Meritxell Ruiz-Isern. El d'avui per mi no és un acte protocolari més. En la meva condició de professor de matemàtiques a secundària, des del primer any de creació de l'Institut Calgravat de Manresa, que he tingut la satisfacció de dirigir, Moodle ha estat un company de viatge que ens ha acompanyat en els primers anys d'existència, que són sempre els més durs. Moodle permet, perquè encara l'utilitzem i molt, millorar la tasca educativa que portem a terme. Parlo de la meva experiència, però sé que en aquesta sala trobaré situacions similars, moltes complicitats i sobretot un munt de gent que li està agraïda. En un país com el nostre, que ha estat sempre al capdavant de la innovació educativa, l'arribada de Moodle no va passar pas desapercebuda i ben aviat va ser adoptada per escoles i instituts. Permeteu-me també recordar que el Departament d'Ensenyament va ser-hi des d'un primer moment, facilitant a tots els centres educatius del país el seu propi espai. Moodle, en un moment estratègicament clau, va significar l'esclat o accelerador de la dimensió educativa de la xarxa. Si abans ja existien experiències TAC de primer nivell, l'aplicació de Moodle a projectes i sobretot a la formació va representar l'impuls i un salt qualitatiu important a l'hora de situar els centres educatius, ara ja en bloc, a l'era del coneixement compartit. Avui dia, i com deia abans, crec que ben pocs centres educatius poden imaginar-se el seu dia a dia sense el seu model de centre. Crec, però, que l'agraïment al doctor Dougiamas no queda només aquí, va molt més enllà. Perquè, a banda de fer aquest agraïment per la creació d'una eina fabulosa com és el Moodle, se li ha de reconèixer també l'encert en la gestió i la projecció d'aquesta eina, que han estat modèliques. M'explico. El senyor Dougiamas podia haver explotat comercialment l'eina i no ho va fer. Probablement això li hagués reportat uns bons ingressos i va renunciar-hi. No ho va fer. Gràcies a aquest gest, molta gent de tots els racons n'hem pogut gaudir. Un tercer aspecte que volia destacar és la comunitat d'usuaris articulada al voltant de les diverses Moodle Mods que s'organitzen arreu del món. Allà, professors i alumnes discuteixen i contribueixen per millorar any rere any en un bon exemple del que és el treball en xarxa i col·laboratiu. Moodle ha anat, per tant, sempre acompanyada de dinàmiques obertes i també participatives. Ha creat comunitat i ha sabut trobar en aquests esforços col·lectius l'impuls que l'ha fet créixer fins a situar-lo actualment en una eina imprescindible. I aquesta dinàmica de créixer junts amb l'implicació de tots els sectors de la comunitat educativa és en el que ara mateix el país s'ha d'emmirallar. Des del Departament d'Ensenyament estem convençuts que entre tots acabarem fent una escola del nou país a l'alçada dels nous reptes. I això no es pot fer sense els bons professionals que hi ha en aquesta sala i en les aules d'aquest país. com tampoc es pot fer sense premiar les iniciatives generoses com les que avui ens aplega. Gràcies, Moodle, i thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Tani. And now call on Anna R., Mayor of Vic and President of the Balmes University Foundation. Anna, com vulguis.
Moltes gràcies, senyor rector. Benvinguts a tots i, sobretot, benvinguts al senyor Martin a la ciutat i a la universitat. Crec que avui, com a universitat, podem estar molt contents, sobretot per l'acceptació del senyor Martin Dougiamas en aquesta honoris causa, en aquest doctorat, però sobretot per l'aportació que fa en el món de l'educació. I avui, a part de presidenta de la Fundació i com a alcaldessa de la ciutat, també us parlaré una mica com l'altre barret que tinc, que és com a professora. I tots els que sou aquí suposo que m'entendreu, perquè compartiu amb mi tot aquest món de l'educació. D'aquí que avui tinguem aquest honoris causa lligat amb el món educatiu. Com a professora, tots sabem que en el món de l'educació tenim molt clar la part vocacional. Aquesta part és una de les més importants perquè sabem el valor que portem amb els nois i noies en la seva formació, que a part de la part acadèmica també hi ha la part personal i sabem la importància d'aquesta educació. Per això, avui, amb aquesta eina, en aquesta eina que ens aporta el que és el Moodle, el que ens ajuda és a millorar aquesta formació. I comparteixo molt del que ha dit el seu padrí, el doctor Kerr, que em sembla que l'educació va lligat amb les persones, però també com es transformen aquestes eines en l'educació. I crec que aquesta eina del Moodle ens ha ajudat a obrir molt el que és el món de l'educació, a compartir coneixements, a compartir relació. Jo diria que seria obrir les aules i les escoles i les universitats al segle XXI. Un pas que cada dia hem de fer i hem d'anar tirant endavant. Per això, com a universitat i com a ciutat, crec que és una gran distinció avui la que donem. Com a universitat, perquè sou un ens i un lloc de formació, i com a ciutat perquè fa temps que vam fer l'aposta de ser ciutat educadora i que tenim molt clar que és l'eix clau per la formació i el creixement de les persones, perquè sabem que si volem els ciutadans d'avui dia, la nostra base i formació bàsica i l'educació és l'aposta que hem de tenir per les persones que nosaltres volem tenir en el dia d'avui. Llavors, per això agraeixo i felicito aquesta distinció, però també tenir clar que en termes educatius aquestes noves tecnologies han provocat grans canvis sobretot en el model d'ensenyament i el model d'aprenentatge, i d'aquí es comentava, com també la relació moltes vegades entre els professors i els alumnes. I això és un repte que com a universitat i com a professors i tots els que ens dediquem al món de l'educació que ens hem de plantejar. És un repte perquè en aquesta pròpia universitat estem formant els nous professors per unes aules, per unes escoles i per un món del segle XXI que moltes vegades no sabem cap endavant, cap a on anirà. Per això avui és una eina que hem d'aprofitar, però és un repte que tenim tots plegats en aquest món de l'educació per aconseguir donar la màxima formació als nous educants que nosaltres estem treballant. D'aquí senzillament agrair aquesta distinció que s'ha fet des de la Universitat de Vic, agrair al senyor Martin que l'hagi acceptada i senzillament m'agradaria acabar-vos dient, i com a professors que tots sou d'aquí la comunitat universitària i doctors, una frase que he trobat que em sembla que avui pot ser molt adient i que ens acompanya una mica amb la lliçó que ens ha donat ell amb el seu eina que ha portat i ha donat voluntariosament en el món de l'educació. I que diu, el professor mediocre diu, el bon professor explica, el professor superior demostra, el gran professor inspira. Espero que aquesta eina us inspiri pels vostres coneixements i formació també per tenir cada vegada una millor ciutat, un millor país i una millor formació per a les nostres persones. Moltes gràcies i sobretot, senyor Martin, congratulations.
Well, ara em toca a mi. Dr. Martin Dougiamas, welcome to Catalonia. Welcome to the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia. Welcome to Vic. From today, this is also your university. Catalonia is a small country with a long history. It's a country of freedom, of creativity, a forward-looking country. And in the future, we hope to develop our full potential. Our ancient country is currently part of Spain, but we have not renounced our sovereignty, and one day we aspire to attain full recognition within the European family of nations. Catalonia has its own distinctive character. We have much to offer in art and culture, in business, and in all aspects of human activity. Catalan is spoken by 11 million people in 4 countries, Andorra, Spain, France, and part of Italy. In this great region, we have a partnership of 21 Catalan universities that are members of the Vives network, with 500,000 students, 40,000 professors, and 12 major science and technology parks. Our own university, it's a young institution for teaching and research, founded by the Parliament of Catalonia in 1997. But we have deep roots going back to the 9th and 10th century in the cathedral schools and in the Middle Age. Our mission is to be a driving force for innovation and knowledge in the service of our country and the wider world. We focus on service to students and their all-around training, so that as future graduates, they will behave ethically, be enthusiastic professionals, and work with social responsibility in their field. The international outlook of our educational projects is fully aligned with the concerns of Catalan society and Europe as a whole. We consider international education exchanges and internship abroad to be essential activities. In a similar vein, we believe that our students and our teachers should be aware of international benchmarks of excellence in different fields of knowledge. Dr. Martin Dougiamas, you are a prestigious international expert and pioneer in the field of collaborative innovation in learning technology, and that is why we have proposed this honorary doctorate to you. Your academic and scientific merits, in particular the creation of the Moodle, the free software learning management platform, have been fully described in the magnificent oration given by our lecturers Richard Sampson and Marcos Cánovas. Our university doctors welcome you among the number, so that your great contribution to collaboration and understanding across borders, as reflected in the Moodle platform, be recognized by our students, our teachers, and the whole university. This is the significance of today's event. Recognition of your successful career as an empowering educational pioneer. Welcoming you among us so that we can learn from you and fulfill our own potential. Men and women around the world with initiatives as a Moodle contribute to a better quality of life for all. Here in Vic, your honorary doctorate is part of the current digital transformation process at our university, which we have called diversity. The diversity is a blend of the words digital and university. The word diversity also emphasizes the flexibility and openness that we seek in order to include the whole community in shared educational endeavors. The diversity project points to a digital transformation of the university that will empower us all. We can imagine society without the cornerstone of education. In ancient times, thanks to education, Greek citizens participate actively in the debates of the polis. Similarly, in the future, education for all will be an essential part of our emerging global society. Innovative information and communication technology, appropriately harnessed, will help us to build a more participative future. Your Moodle platform is such an innovative technology, and you have been the protagonist of this adventure. Thanks to people like you, we use your creativity in the service of the wider community society, and this society can evolve in an inclusive manner. We are often told that technology is neutral. The users decide if it's used for good or ill. That may be true, but if there is such a thing as good technology, then Moodle is certainly it. Moodle is designed for people to help each other, to grow together, and to realize our full potential, overcoming barriers of distance and obstacles, building affinities and enhancing opportunities for teamwork. Your invention has empowered individuals and groups to work together and support each other with toleration and respect for differences. Moodle can help us rediscover the excitement of learning, of taking the initiative and helping others achieve more than they imagine. We are experiencing great changes in the field of education. Access to higher education has risen in most parts of the world. This in turn means that the students come to us in diverse circumstances. They have many different needs in terms of academic support, timetable flexibility, of campus opportunities, and personal preferences. As an institution, we need to take account of all these demands and ensure rich participative experiences that lead to success and prepare students for professional careers in which they will need to show independence, creativity, self-awareness, responsibility, and ability to work flexibly in teams and adapt to new situations. At our university, we have defined 7 core skills that we seek to develop in all our courses. Let me give you an idea of them. First and foremost, we seek to help our students be critical thinkers. Second, we want them to be in contact with a variety of practical contexts. Third, they should interact in international context. Fourth, they should display professional skills working in networked teams. Fifth, they should have opportunities for practice based in social inclusion. Sixth, they should use written forms of communication appropriately. 7, and lastly, each student should become the protagonist of their own learning process. Such goals are easy enough to state, but thanks to Moodle, we can now much more effectively achieve them, with our students right at the center of the learning process. They can share experiences for all around the world through multimedia and online communication. They can work with others, whatever they are. They can comment on the learning process and each other's work online. They can work more effectively between class sessions. They can stay in touch with professional bodies and interact with relevant social networks. Students can work on activities independently or in groups with rich feedback and opportunities to improve. They can take control of their own education. The possibilities are really very, very exciting. Indeed, we want to be optimistic about the future, and Moodle can play an important part in it. In Moodle's rich interactive environment, we can construct our future together. And this is now the great challenge for teachers and students. We can do many things together, and we must take advantage of these opportunities. Moodle is a dynamic, creative, evolving technology that is a catalyst for learning. It facilitates access to knowledge and opportunities for development for all of us, whatever our starting point. At the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia, with the award of this honorary degree, we are recognizing your contribution to make it possible for us all. We can work together more effectively to construct together, enable the building of knowledge among groups and communities from our own desktops reaching out across continents. We live in a very small planet, and our future will be a shared one. We need an overall long-term vision and tools to help build awareness and grow as responsible, active citizens I am convinced that Moodle will help us and already helps us every day to evolve as individuals and as a society. To make this support for Moodle tangible and effective, I am pleased to tell you that our university is one of the first in Spain to become member of the Worldwide Moodle Users Association, which was launched in January this year. Martin Dougiamas, Dr. Martin Dougiamas. This medal that we have presented to you, shared by all the recipients of honorary doctorates at our university, it's inspired by the initial letter A of a decorative gold Carolingian alphabet. The piece was found in the monastery at Conques in France and reminds us of the origins of higher education in Europe, in monastic scriptorium and cathedral schools. It was designed by the sculptor Emilia Armengol that is here with us. It's a capital A without a crossbar, symbolizing growth and convergence toward the zenith of knowledge, with the sun of the apex illuminating the human mind. During solemn ceremonies such as this one, the doctors of the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia, wear a medal with the inscription Scientia Patraeque Impedere Vitam, that it's more or less use life in the service of knowledge and the community. This motto sums up the mission of the university, to serve the community and to learn through teaching, research, and knowledge transfer. This is the same circle as on the honorary doctorate medal, with the sun's rays radiating out to the whole of society through knowledge, research, and innovation. The doctoral medal symbolizes the unity of knowledge and charges us to work in the service of the wider community. It's also linked to our peer group of researchers worldwide, working in the service of all mankind. To end this speech, I congratulate our teachers Marcos Cánovas and Richard Samson for their oration, also for the preparation of all the doctorate. Particularly his work as for the oration outlining the contribution of Dr. Martin Dougiamas, particularly his work as a pioneer behind the Moodle platform. I want to thank Dr. Pere Quer, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, who has proposed his honorary doctorate award at the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia. I thank the artist Jordi Pagès for the donation of the commemorative initial illustration that we have used as emblem for the honorary doctorate of Dr. Martin Dougiamas. I thank all of you, doctors from the UVic-UCC, for your generous support and welcome for our new honorary doctor. And of course, I must thank all of those who have contributed to this ceremony, especially the team that is preparing this ceremony for many months ago. I would like also to congratulate the chorale, the magnificent chorale of the University of Vic. And many thanks of all of you, members of the management board of the university, members of the board of trustees of the Balmes University Foundation, academic and political authorities, teachers, members of staff, and students for accompanying us, for being with us in this award ceremony. Welcome, Martin Dougiamas, to the University of Vic, Central University of Catalonia. You are at home. Well, please stand for the university anthem. spiritur, Iuven estum sumus, gaudeamus spiritur, Iuven estum sumus, quos secundam juventutem, quos molestam senectutem, nos haberitumus, nos haberitumus. Ubi sunt qui ante nos, immundo fuere, ubi sunt qui ante nos, immundo fuere, habeas ad inferos, transeas ad superos, possibilis videre, possibilis videre. Viva l'Academia, viva professores, viva l'Academia, viva professores, viva membrum qualivet, viva membra qualivet, semper sit in fiore, semper sit in fiore.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today. We learn a lot, especially from the speech of Dr. Kerr, that he said, sumiatruitas. And I thought, wow, what should be the translation from sumiatruitas? In English, it's to pipe dreams. It's true? Well, no ho he llegit, and we now invite all of you to join us outside for a cup of cava. Also, this is not a precedent. We can offer you a mojito. The mojito is the official drink of Moodle Moods. There are the meetings of Moodle users that take place regularly around the world. For obvious reason, at 1 o'clock, maybe a mojito. In this case, will be made with cava. It's an experiment. More than rum, we thought that it will be more easy to drink. Anyway, we hope you will enjoy it. Thank you very much indeed.